Which is that one book that comes to your mind when somebody mentions snow and December and Christmas? Is it true that snowflakes are just frozen confetti falling from the sky? Or is there any book that you know that makes you feel cold when you're reading it and reminds you of December? These questions are truly fascinating and we'll get deep into that, but for now, I'm Karthik and you're listening to Growing Up Gone Wrong, and we're back again with a brand new episode. And since we all love winters, like I'm assuming that you all love winters, all the readers and podcast listeners and people who enjoy like me time, they adore winters. Like they have to. They might not adore the cold. They might not fancy it at all, but the only thing that drives them crazy during the winters is the warmth, the hot cocoa, and the hot chocolate as well, and reading a book with a fire by your side. Yeah, it sounds dreamy, but a lot of us are really fascinated by the idea, right? So today, for a change, we're not going to really talk about precisely about books, but we're going to talk about snow. I'll give you the context first. So a few days back, I was randomly conversing with a person online on Twitter, and she randomly mentioned that she has never seen snow and she had some questions. And I was like, sure, ask away. And she really typed out the whole list of questions that she had in her mind about snow. And the questions were insane. Like they were really goofy as but at the same time, those were really innocent. And then I realized like these kind of questions is why I have started my podcast. Because as we are growing up, we are never told to ask questions. On the contrary, we are discouraged when we try to ask questions, when we try to be curious about something, right? Curiosity is a great thing that humankind possesses. It can also be a curse, it can also be a boon, but at the same time, it is always a good thing to know things, right? All those questions, we should keep them coming. And I am really fascinated by such people who have such goofy ass questions, which might seem like totally childish and immature, but those are actual questions. And if you dig deep into them, it really makes sense. For example, right now I'm thinking about how and why mountains are pointy shaped. Why are they like triangular or pyramidal or whatever it is called? Why are they not like a cuboidal figure? And why are not they spherical or maybe like Earth, like a lump coming out of the ground? There might be a scientific reason behind it, but I do not know that. I need to Google that right away because this is the first question that popped into my head when I was starting to speak about it. So these are the questions. These might sound lame, but in the end, this is what curiosity is. Curiosity is lame until you actually get answers to it, right? So shall we begin with the questions? Okay, so the first question is, when you walk through the deep snow, do you secretly worry that you'll fall down? Yeah, usually, because I remember I personally seen snow only twice or thrice in life, and none of them have been like very thrilling experiences, very life-threatening situations when the snow is like 3 feet tall and your feet is like frozen and your foot is stuck in the snow. It has never happened to me, but I've seen people do that, and it was just once that when I was seeing the snow for the first time, they asked us to wear those gum boots because those are really, really long and loose boots, and which I had to wear to walk in the snow and do ski at that time. So yes, at that time I was really worried that I'd fall, and more than the falling part, I was worried that my toenails were very clipping the inside walls of that gum boot, and I was really worried I might break them. And it was since it was really cold and I was feeling the most of the cold through my feet. So that is the thing I was worried about. But I think snow is the kind of thing that you can easily walk on. Not easily, but you can stick your feet in it. If you are falling in snow, I would totally recommend falling in snow though. Not too often, but yes. But yeah, if you're clumsy like me, you will definitely fall. But if you're not clumsy enough and you're good with your feet and quick on your toes, you will be fine. And you won't fall, I think. Oh, this one and the next one is a really good question. Do you ever find lost items in the snow, like sunglasses from last summer or misplaced socks? That is precisely what happened with me. Like I lost my watch in the snow when I went skiing for the first time. and it was a really good watch. I had it for 7 to 8 years, and it was originally 14 years old. And I was worried about it the whole time that I did not take it off, and eventually I lost it in the snow. But 50% of my heart still says that someone took it, like someone took it off my hand while I was skiing, the guy who was tutoring me. But yeah, that is also a conspiracy theory. But I would never get my watch back again. That is just sad. But at the same time, I also found one thing. It was a brass chain. I'm not sure it was brass. It is brass or it was bronze, but it was a very dull and pale, rusty colored chain that I found. It was very heavy, but I still have it. And winners are takers, right? That is quite ironic, right? That is a really good memory of that place for me, because I did lose my favorite watch, and that's not, but I also found a random ass chain, and I'm that kind of a guy who would find the most random thing on a beach or while trekking under the shoes. I'll hit a rock, and that rock might be a very interesting figure, and I'll just take it with me. And I'm that kind of guy. So that chain really means like a good memory token, a good souvenir from that time. And I would always remember that how I fell miserably tons and tons of time while skiing, and I was so horrible at it. But in the end, it was a really good experience, and I love snow. That is the moment I knew that I love snow. And this one is book related, so this would be interesting. So the question is, which book reminds you of snow? Like, or if someone mentions snow, which is that one book that comes into your mind which makes you feel cold and all Christmassy, and you know while reading it, like, this is December. This reminds you of December. Yeah, and the question wasn't this long. I just improvised, and yeah. But anyhow, the answer to this question is very simple, and the book is The Book Thief. Yes, that is it. The title of the book is The Book Thief, and the way it is set, like the way the initial few chapters of the book are set, I am already in love with that book, because I will not ruin it for you guys if you are anyhow currently reading it or plan to read it in the future. But the way it is said, in the very first page, you can see the narrator talking about how the train is whistling through the snow. Like, there is snow to the left and snow to the right, and they're burying a dead body on the right side in the snow. So that is kind of creepy. It's kind of creepy, yes, but I can totally picture snow. I can totally picture a train running smoothly in the middle of like snow-filled meadows. So yeah, that if anybody ever mentions snow, that is the book that comes to my mind instantly. Because it is cold and it is airy, and also it is dark, because a lot of people in the older times could not really survive the cold. I've seen a lot of movies and documentaries where people are talking about how their newborn children did not survive winters. And even Game of Thrones, if you have seen, everybody's talking about winters in a very grim way. And they are actually grim. So that is one book that gives me chills when I'm reading. And I know that this is quite eerie and it resembles winters completely, but at the same time it is beautiful because it has snow. And I love snow, and I love how white it is. But anyhow, that is that one book, and I really recommend it to all of you guys listening out there, because it is quite easy to read, one, and two, because of the narration. The narration is totally unique. It is a totally different concept, and I would totally recommend it. Moving on to the next question. Do people use snow blowers to create snowstorms for fun, or is that just a rumor? I was under the impression that snow blowers are used to, remove the snow from your front porch or lawn when it snows too hard. But yeah, that is a really good idea. You could just blow off the snow and fight with each other and creating some thunderstorms. And it is a really good idea to actually create cinematic shots. Put 3 people out there with snow blowers, and they could be blowing in a very systematic direction, and you could shoot it from the other side when a person is walking by. It could really give a cinematic look to that. Or is it just me? I think. Yeah, I think it is just me. But that could be a really good idea if implemented well. Oh, this is a good one. Are there any snow-related conspiracy theories? I did come across one conspiracy theory recently about snow. So I had seen this viral TikTok or a video on Twitter And people were trying to burn snow, like they just made a snowball and tried to burn it with a lighter, and the results were astonishing. Like a lot of you might not know about it, but they were trying to burn it, and the snow did not melt at all. Instead, it got blackened. It got a little black, and there were fumes around it. There was no water coming down even when they were trying to melt the snow. I at first assumed that I was siding with them, like the snow is fake, and they were all yelling at everybody, like snow is fake, snow is not real, it is not burning and converting into water, it is something else. But scientifically, this process is called sublimation. I think I pronounced it right, but yeah, it is called sublimation. And in this, what actually happens is, in very negative temperatures, like very colder temperatures, when you try to burn snow, it gets converted directly into water vapor. And everybody has studied this in science, right? In school, first snow or solid water gets converted into water vapor, then it is converted into water vapor when it's melted, right? But in this case, in this specific scenario, the snow is directly converted into water vapor. So there is no water made out of it. There is no melting. So this process is called sublimation. And a lot of people who skipped their 7th grade classes probably are unironically yelling that this is fake snow. But it is intriguing. Like this conspiracy theory is like you can really fool people with these kind of things. Okay, next question. Can you really build a snowman, or is it just in Tom and Jerry? Yeah, of course you can build a snowman. I'm not sure how to explain it, but snow feels very light, and it feels like if you hold them in your hand, it might melt because of because we're warm-blooded animals, right? It would melt, but it does not really melt. Snow itself creates I don't know how, but snow itself creates some intricate web on the inside, and it keeps itself solid when you hold it, and you can really create huge ass balls and throw at people. I remember this one time when I was in Himachal with my siblings, and I had made a perfect snowball and I threw it at my brother, and it hit him right in the face, and I'm sure it hurt like hell. But yeah, you can easily build a snowman, but not really like you just roll the snowman, it gets converted into a bigger and bigger ball. That does not happen. You have to build it piece by piece, and you cannot just roll it over and the snow will get attached to it automatically. That does not happen. True. And that brings us to our next question. Have you ever caught cold from a snowball or a snowball fight? Or do snowballs have built-in immunity? I have never personally caught cold from a snowball, or I'm too good at snowball fighting that I've never been hit on the face or in the upper part of the body, maybe on the legs, maybe or in the hand, but not on face ever. And I always win, and I am very good at aiming, and I just hit right at people. So I've never experienced that, but I think you're more likely to fall sick anyhow if you're playing with snow. Because the moment you step out of snow and get into a warm temperature, of course you'll fall sick. But if you have good immunity, then you might not. And the next question, what is it like to touch snow? And the question was not, what is it like to touch snow? It was, what it's like to touch a snow. That was really goofy. Is it the same thing as freezers in refrigerator? No, it is not the same thing as freezers in refrigerator, because in reality, snow is a lot more softer. And what we see in freezers is ice. And when it gets more colder in freezer and it reduces the temperature, then we can see a little of frosty snowflakes in it. But it is still not snow. It is the snowflakes on top of ice. But in reality, snow is very light. Unless and until you form a big ass ball out of it and throw it at someone, it is very light. And you can crumble it with your hands. It crumbles like salt. So it is not really same as it is in freezers, but it is 10 times more beautiful just because practically you are inside of a freezer on top of the snowflakes. It is crazy. Oh, and one last question. I think we have already covered so many questions, but this one is really good. Is it true that snowflakes are just frozen confetti falling from the sky? Yeah, totally it could be. Confettis are like those paper sprinkles, right? So yeah, totally it could be. It is a very good metaphor, actually. Because snowflakes are actually like paper crumbs, just lighter. And a single snowflake would just melt right away when it touches your skin. unless the temperature is way too low for it to melt. But yeah, it could totally be that. Have you ever seen that movie? It is called Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I think a lot of you might have. And if you haven't, it is about a guy who invents a machine which generates food out of water. So what he does is he sends that machine to the clouds, and it starts raining with burgers and bacon and sausages, and people are eating it. So yeah, that just reminded me of that movie. You might just watch that movie right away. Yeah, that is it. I think these are the questions I wanted to cover today. It was a very off-topic discussion, off-topic questions, but I love these questions. And if any one of you have any such questions, these are the kind of questions I was mentioning actually when I say if you have any questions or concerns, please hit me up. These are the kind of questions that I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to like please recommend me some book. Like of course I will answer that, but in the end, these are the kind of questions that really entice me into talk about it more because wow, like I would never have thought of these questions like in the same context as she has. So hats off to her for these questions, and she really gave me an episode on my podcast. So this is really good. And if you have any such questions, if you have any such topics to goofily discuss about, I'm all in, and we might even talk about it in our next episode of the podcast. So that is it from my side. And if you want to post these questions, I would leave down a Q&A, and you can post your questions under that, or leave a review, or maybe participate in the poll, and you can let me know, and I will feature those questions in the next episode, or at least I will try to answer those questions. So goodbye from my side, and see you in the next episode.